Hello there, you're watching and listening to another Scoutcast on www.fantasyfootballscout.co.uk, and my name is Mark.
My name's Granville.
Good evening, Granville, and also we have Jonty with us.
Good evening.
Good evening, Jonty, how are you?
Jonty.
Very well, very well. Trust you're all well.
And I believe we brought another guest with us.
Exciting.
Andrew, aka Green Windmill. How are you, Andrew?
Not bad at all, Mark. Good evening.
Yes, Andrew, I should explain, is currently top of the Contributors League, hence my caption. He's 115th in the world, hence that's why we've got him on the show to ask him more about his season, because he's blazing a trail. He's 30 points ahead of me. He was 30 points ahead of Joe early in the season, and we just can't catch him, can we, Jonty?
No, not at all. I'm getting close, but you're talking 4 points a week, closing the gap.
Yeah, we're edging back at you, Andrew, but it's not happening at a very good pace. So
yeah.
I noticed how you haven't asked me.
No, Granville, we're kind of counting you out of the equation at this, but you never know. You might rise like a phoenix.
No, I'm very mid-division this season.
So, Andrew, we're gonna talk more about your season later on in the show. We're going to analyse your game weeks and look at your transfers and see if you've got any skeletons in the cupboard, so to speak. But I've had a quick look. You haven't made many mistakes. So more on that later in the show. To start with, Granville and I are going to talk about our game weeks, then we're going to look at all the board, of course. We're going to discuss all the bandwagons, and obviously what's going to be hogging the discussion this week is the double game week. We're going to talk to Jonty, Granville and Andrew about their plans with that, exactly how many players they're taking in and which players they're going to bring in ahead of Tuesday's deadline. That's basically what we're all obsessed about in the last few days. And then we're going to look at the Scout Leagues, of course, and look ahead to the weekend preview, and then talk about, basically talk about any other nonsense that comes into our heads. Probably Granville's cat will make another appearance as well. Granville, is it locked out this week?
Locked out, yes. He's not coming back. No chance.
Blimey, you didn't have to go that. This is not EastEnders, Granville. You didn't have to go that far.
He's in the same place where Jonty's dog went missing.
Oh no, don't say that.
Anyway, should we talk about this game week?
Yes. So Granville, not a lot in it really. 55 to 51. So I edged ahead again. So I'm now 100. It's now 3 figures, 102 points.
It is indeed. Yes. I don't know. My 2 transfers this week, Jenkinson and Di Maria, 2 free transfers, and I guess all wasted. Di Maria is very dear. We spoke about this last week.
Why did you do it, Granville? Why did
Well, the other option was Silva, and he didn't do anything either, so it didn't really make a great deal of difference. But because I needed to get rid of Fabregas, because I needed to get rid of at least one Chelsea player, and just looking at the big hits, who else could I have got who scored well? Sterling maybe, but he didn't. I didn't really consider him. So the Di Maria and Jenkinson, who I thought actually had quite a good game, he was getting forward a lot. In fact, he had
an early effort, didn't he?
He created a few chances. He created, I think, 3 or 4 chances. He was more creative than Cresswell, so I kind of took that as a slight victory. But the fact that he didn't do anything in the end is just disappointing. And I actually chose him ahead of Dawson, who you got in. That's probably that's the difference. There you go. That's 5 points. So that was a difference in our game week.
Yeah, just not a lot in it at all. And I mean, that's how the weeks are going at the moment. There's nothing spectacular happening, and we're kind of tit for tat taking points off each other. But yeah, 102 points now, Granville. It's you need to up your game. Maybe the double game week will fall for you.
I was happy to get a green arrow after quite a few reds on the run. So yeah, we'll see this game week. The thing here is we're all going to be doing exactly the same thing. We're going to be getting Kane, we're going to be getting Ericsson, maybe a few will be getting Austin. There's nothing really, because there's only one game in the double game week. It's not really good. You're not really going to get any differentials, I don't think.
Granville, you're so down. This is the first double game week of the season. We're all really excited about it, and there's you naysaying and can't believe it.
Are you excited about this one?
I am, yeah. Just because it is a double game week. It's going to be a weird one, given that the second match is on the Saturday. I mean, I can't remember that happening in the past. I look back on the annals of FBL. I can't remember a second match being on Saturday. I'm sure it has been before, but I am excited. It's something about them. I mean, Jonty and I were talking about it last week, Jonty, and Granville was down on it then, wasn't he?
What was that again?
on the double game week. You know,
Yeah,
you're not even listening to Granville now.
Well, no, I was just following our Twitter
Okay.
and our YouTube feed. Some of the comments.
Yes, John T.
No,
Tell them
yeah,
how they can get involved. By the way, I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we've got. I posted up on Fantasy Football Scout. There's a hot topic in the side column with the link to the YouTube link, and looks like lots of the community already there. Very concerned that that Greenwimble doesn't have a beard. So
Andrew, you don't have a beard. Can you put that right instantly? We didn't give you long enough to grow one.
Fake beard.
There we go.
I see a beard.
And
there we go. Look, absolutely, yeah. That looks so realistic.
I did come prepared. I didn't want to miss out and disappoint.
No, that's absolutely perfect.
And there's some comments suggesting I look like an older version of Santi Cazorla. So, well.
Who also incidentally looks like Keith Harris.
But the initial question you asked was about the double game weeks, and yes, the Granville was talking because seasoned old pros like Granville will know that they can go terribly wrong. You can get the wrong players in. I remember a particularly bad one. I don't know if Granville was caught out. I remember I was when back in the days when Milner was a force to be reckoned with at Aston Villa.
That's way back.
everyone captained him. He had two fabulously easy matches. He got injured, I think, at some point about the 20th minute of the first one, and that was the end of that. And that kind of thing can happen. So,
John, do you remember?
Mark had Milner that game week. I didn't.
We spoke about this last week, but do you remember the game week where Blackpool had 3 fixtures in a week? I think it was.
It was Birmingham.
Was it Birmingham?
And that was another a failure. I was one of the many that fell for that and thought, wow, a triple game week.
Yeah, I got Zigic in, I think.
And I got Zigic in, and I think he mustered a point because of 3 matches. I think even if I'd have come on as a sub, I'd have got more than the point.
Well, yeah, if you were 6'8", yes.
This is an urban myth. There was no triple game week. There was double game week. There was no triple game week.
2 double game weeks.
Was it 2 and 2?
It was 2. It was 2 double game weeks in 3 weeks.
Sure. Oh, you've killed it again. You're very good at just killing the joy here, Graham.
But then there has been some really happy memories as well. And I mean that the most amazing one was when Manchester United had a couple of easy fixtures and Wayne Rooney was the obvious choice, and he ended up with 64 points that week.
Yeah.
I mean that was incredible, and people were coming in saying, "Oh, I got 140 points. Is that good?" You would be throwing cabbages at them and telling them to go, but genuinely that wasn't, because there were people coming on with 180. So yeah.
Granville, you're listening to this and you still don't like double game weeks. Listen to the magic.
The thing is that I've still got my wild card, so I'm praying for some decent double game weeks. This wasn't one to play your wild card in. That's how bad it was.
No.
There's the Chelsea one coming up could be interesting, but we really need more than one double game. We need a few teams in the double to make it really interesting, because then you get differentials.
Okay, well let's go round and see what we're doing on the double game week. So Andrew, do you want to tell us? I mean, you're leading the way, so you set the example. First of all, how many double game week players are you going to have come Tuesday night?
Do you mind if I take this off?
Yeah.
A bit itchy.
Yeah.
The thing, I've actually already made 2 transfers this week.
You've done it already?
I've already gone for it. So I've got in the extremely dull combination of
notes here.
Kane, Ericsson, and Austin is what I'm running with as it stands.
That's exactly what I'm going for.
That's good.
That's what I've got as well.
Superb.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So hold on. So who's gone out for Austin, Kane, and Ericsson? Or you had Kane already?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's me as well. I'm part of that game.
I already had Kane. Yeah. Di Maria has gone for Ericsson.
No brainer.
Not before time. And Jermaine Defoe has gone for Charlie Austin.
Same as mine.
There wasn't a lot I thought required in those moves, to be honest.
No.
I've got Stuart Downing out for Ericsson. And Defoe out for Austin. There we go.
So you've got those 3 as well, John T.
Got those 3, yeah.
Granville, you haven't gone for those 3, have you?
Same thing. and I made the same moves as well. Di Maria out for Ericsson.
So just to
and
explain,
Defoe out for Austin.
So this section of the show, when I put the notes together, I was like, okay, so the second part of the show, we can all talk about our double game week transfers and the variety of players that we're considering, and all four of us are doing exactly the same.
So what was the same before? I said this is why it's a boring game week. We're all going to do exactly the same moves.
Granville, do my eyes deceive me? Does it say Maverick underneath your name? See, now a real Maverick would be someone like one of
you'd be going. He'd be going Musa Dembele, wouldn't you?
He was giving Bobby Zamora.
Walker and Cranshaw or something like that.
But, the Maverick double game week would be Zamora, Dembele, and I guess Walker maybe. And then go for Phillips as well. So and Captain Zamora, that would be the ultimate.
What about Cranshaw?
I don't know if he'll play so much. But,
no, you'll get 1.5 games out of him. Phillips is the one. So last week we talked about these players, and then this week we turn up and we're doing the obvious. So we're all dullards then, basically.
Yeah.
And we've got no hope of catching Andy because we're just doing what he's doing. So.
No, and I mean, in fact, with my team, I've really scuppered myself slightly. In the last week, I got rid of Hazard for Silva.
Yes, tell us more about this, John.
I took out Terry and Hazard for Silva and the West Brom Dawson. So the way I figured about it is if I hadn't have made that extra move, I'd have only had 10 players. So Silva only got me 2 points. So I don't feel so bad about it because that's 2 points I wouldn't have got. So I'm kind of 2 points down on the deal so far. And what I'm banking on is Silva doing really well. And I looked at the West Ham fixture for Chelsea and Hazard in particular. Hazard's still not the form player he is at home away. And I thought, and I hope that Silva will outscore him. That's the aim. And then the following week, look to get Hazard back for whoever, whichever situation arises. But Hazard is definitely an important player that I want back. But it was just one of those things. Can I essentially live without him for a week and do it? And we spoke last week about Silva. We spoke about he's either a player you've got to have in and just leave and forget about, except that he's going to explode and then get 2 points, or not have at all. So I did think about that afterwards, and I just thought, actually, I do want Silva in all the time.
What are you doing? Are you going to hold Silva and then get Hazard in for somebody else?
Yeah, I'm going to get Hazard in for possibly Ericsson, who I've already got in, do a bit of hokey-cokey with that, or having a look at Sanchez, and I think Sanchez might be someone we might speak about later.
Yeah, hold fire. So how much have you lost on the deal with Hazard?
Well, nothing. He didn't play last week, so.
No, but in terms of.
Sorry, in price. 0.3.
Okay. Because he's gone down. He went down the other. He
went down, and Silva's about to go up. So if Silva goes, it all depends. Because also Sanchez has gone up a couple of times since I've had him, and also at this stage of the season, I did 0.1, 0.2. I just don't think they matter as much this part of the season. I'd happily pay 0.3. For Hazard. I do concede it's a risk though, but I feel very comfortable with Silva, Aguero, my 3 double game weekers.
Can you change your name then to Maverick?
I was going to say.
Change my name.
I have to.
See, that's a Maverick.
I'll give it a go.
Getting rid of Hazard was a Maverick.
Yeah, I tell you what, I might be a bridge too far to even call myself that.
And let's give you credit for Jason Punchin, because I must tell you, John T, on Saturday when Punchin got his assist, which was perhaps a ropey one, Granville said he ain't half lucky, that John T, and then Punchin came in with 2 more. I have to remind Granville that you called Punchin last week.
I've got him on my wild cards, and my mistake with Punchin was actually benching him when he got his other last haul. But yeah, I mean, it was there. If Punchin plays in the middle, he's so effective against weaker teams. And by weaker teams, I mean the kind of teams around Palace. I'm not talking about Chelsea or Manchester United in a way, kind of quite good defensive sides. And Jason Punchin, when he plays in that role in the middle, and you get a striker like Glenn Murray, who's just a real nuisance. you're just going to start getting free kicks. You're going to get corners. You're going to annoy the other opposition. And Puncheon and Murray, they just completely annoyed West Ham to death that game.
Well, it's not only that though, because Palace have got Zaha and Balassi. Right? Now, if
they've got the winners as well.
They're going to win it. They're going to win you loads of corners and free kicks because they're just running past defenders.
And they came from set pieces, didn't they?
All set pieces. I mean, in previous weeks, so Puncheon's been on the wing, and that's what scuppered his points. So, I mean, the coming week, I'll have to, with all the double game week players, I'll bench him. But I'm looking to play him lots of weeks now, Puncheon. I think he's if he's going to be keeping in the middle, I think those assists are going to be really handy.
You can play him this week.
No, I'll have to bench him. But I'm fine with that. It's the following week because he plays QPR the following week.
These are the kind of transfers, John T and Granville, that are going to allow us to catch Andrew, because without taking risks like that, we've got no chance. Picking Austin and Ericsson and Kane, that's just the same as Andrew. We're never going to catch him. Puncheon's the way to do it. Andrew, has John T got you worried?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah, look at his track record. Every season is John T's best season. His rank has gone up and up and up. He's relentless. It's a worry having John T, and you're in the top 500 as well, Mark.
Wow, I didn't like to
playing it softly.
I think all
Granville obviously is a threat.
Oh yeah, and Granville, yeah.
But I think at Greenwood, all I'm doing is copying your style in this game, because I know we'll come on to your season so far. But one of the tactics I noticed about your season has been that you've got the well-owned top 10,000 players with an ownership in the top 10,000. You've got those in place, and then your other players are the ones that give you that slight edge, and that's what I'm trying to do here. So Kane, Ericsson, and Austin, they're your staple players for this coming game week, and Aguero, and then you've got these other ones you're trying to hopefully get some points out. That's why I've got a player like Koscielny. And looking at your team as well, your team is that great mix of template and then a few others, and it just goes well. It means that you'll never drop. That's why I said last week, I don't think you'll have to make a mistake. And I don't think you can with your tactic, because you're always keeping within that top 10,000.
Well, I mean,
you get a little bit more.
Looking at the game weeks, Andrew, I mean, you still got your wild card as well.
I have. I'm with Granville. I'm hoping for a bumper double game week. Sometime. Well, looks like game week 34 is our best hope, depending on the FA Cup matches. But potentially sort of loading up. With players in advance of that, game week 33, and then making the most of the wild card. It's the same tactic I used the last time I finished in the top 1,000. So
115, which is where you are this week. That's the highest rank you've had of the season. So you just basically bumped up to your top position you've had all season. Yeah. Looking back at your season, game week 8 was a turning point for you, because you went from 500,000 in the world into the top 100k with game week 8, in which you got 95 points. Just a reminder, Granville, you loved that game week. That was the one where Tadic and Pella and Aguero came in, and I got 117 points. Do you remember that game week, Granville? No.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do, Mark.
Anyway, it was a good one for Andrew as well. He got 95 points, and that put you into the top 100k. And then you followed it up 2 weeks later with another 90, which put you 13k in the world. And then from that point on, I think from game week 8 to 18, you've got one red arrow. So you just relentlessly just pushed on from there.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Game week 8 was a big week for me, because to be honest, I felt like I was having a horrible season. I mean, I was having a horrible season. I was outside the top 500,000. It was. Yeah, I mean, just a series of poor decisions. I mean, it wasn't. I haven't changed tactics since then. I've just started to make better decisions. But starting the season with Stephen Davis, transferring him out in game week 3 and bringing in Mark Albrighton instead. captaining Emmanuel Adebayor.
Yeah, whoa.
It was just
You can't
it was
skip over
chaos for the first couple of months.
Adebayor, hold on, let's have a look, because we've got to dwell on that. That's incredible.
Do we?
It's not really. If you consider what he did last season.
Game week 6, you brought him in, and you captained him. Who did he play?
He had it. I think it was West Brom at home. It looked like a plum fixture. I think it was maybe Apple Bonkers on the site for a drug test on Adebayor to see if somebody had doped him before the game, because he was, he more or less didn't move for 90 minutes. It was a complete shambles. So that was, that kind of characterised the first 7 weeks of my season, I would say, making decisions like that.
But then look at game week 8. You got Costa out, Aguero in. You captain Aguero, 34 points, and that's where it all went right.
That was that kickstarted the season. I sort of gained 400,000 places in one game week. As you say, took out Costa. I'd only had him 2 weeks, and that was when there was all the rumours about his injury. I decided to take them seriously, switched to Aguero and captained him, and got lucky with that.
That was a game against Spurs, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Aguero scored 4 and missed a penalty.
Yeah.
Shame.
But yeah, a lot that's actually where my game. I think that's where my season went wrong. That game week, not having him. Mark had him.
Yeah, well, that's where.
And Jonty had him. Yeah, most people had him.
If you had Aguero and captain, and you had a Southampton player that week, because Southampton won 8-0, then it was all over, wasn't it? I mean, that game week was just a massive turn.
That was a real victory for Fantasy Football Scout stats fans because of Tadic and his one great game week.
Yeah.
And pretty much, I would probably say the only people that owned Tadic that game week would have been hardcore Southampton fans and Fantasy Football Scout regulars. And so on the site at that day, it was as if the whole world owned Tadic. And you looked at his ownership, and it was like 2% or something.
I think a lot of people owned Pele as well that week, and he scored really well, didn't he?
He got 15, I think, something like that.
15, I think he got, but it wasn't, that was kind of dwarfed by Tadic's score.
Yeah, if you had Aguero, Tadic, Pele, and Bertrand or Klein, one of the Southampton defenders, then you were looking at 90, 100 points that week.
How easy, yeah.
I've said it lots of times on the site, that game week 8, I've never known a game week like it, where so many players' seasons would just completely transform that 1 week.
So, Andrew, you've had 8 point hits so far this season. I mean, I've just made the 1. So is that common in your seasons? Do you often use point hits?
It's not been in the past. It's something I've consciously decided to do this season. Actually, it's a bit of a promise I made to myself towards the back of last season that I wasn't going to be so scared of taking hits. I'm making early transfers if team value was going to be affected, and if I thought it would set my team up better for the long term. A bit of a blow that this became the season where price changes were so difficult to predict, but it's still worked out for me quite nicely.
So it has worked. That's something you'll carry on from this point on, and for next season, you reckon?
Oh yeah, definitely. Every season's different. I think we always say that, but I'm not going to back away from the formula that's done me well this season until if and when it stops working.
Until Granville catches you, then it's time for.
Just saying, if you can judge hits on whether you got a green or red arrow, your first 4 were red arrows, but then you had a run of 4-point hits where you got greens. You had that run from game week 12 to game week 19 where you got all green arrows, and you took 1, 2, 3 4-point hits in there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never sure how you judge that whether a hit has been effective or not. I don't think you can judge it in the course of 1 week and say green or red, because I might have had a red arrow anyway, but not dropped as far because I took the hit. or it might be that the green arrow the next week was as a result of the players I'd got myself set up for. So I kind of, if I'm happier with my team after the hit, I consider it a success, really.
Yeah, well, all good. I mean, so we're not going to catch you this week by the sounds of it, not with the same players, but we'll see. We'll see what luck we have. I mean,
you'd better captain someone outrageous, Mark.
Well, yeah, this is it. I'm thinking I have to. I mean, we're all going to captain Kane then, aren't we? Basically, that's
definitely
at the minute. Yeah,
I'm not going to captain Kane.
Okay.
Captain.
Okay.
I'm going to captain Austin.
Oh, are you now? Well, he's the dark horse. Interesting.
I think that's a good call. No, I think that's a good call. I think you should do it.
I haven't got much to lose, really. You're protecting high ranks, so not that I should really come into it, but I just my thinking is that I'm not convinced that well, I am convinced that Pochettino's going to make some changes for the Saturday game. I think he has to, because 3 games in a week is a lot of football. In fact, it's less than a week. And they had a tough game in the Capital One Cup, game on Wednesday, game on Saturday. He's going to rotate, and the obvious rotation is at the back with Rose and Davis, I would say. I suggest that someone like Chadley's going to come in for one of the games. Ericsson may drop out. I don't know. I think Kane is likely to play both games.
Yeah, just because he's only got Soldado as an option.
But it's not just about them playing the minutes. It's about them having fatigue. I mean, the Saturday game, they will feel it. I remember when they played United a few weeks ago, and it was a drab 0-0, and both teams had played 2 days before. It was around Christmas time. They just looked absolutely out on their feet, and I think it's going to be the same. So I'm just not 100% sure that we're going to be able to get that 2 games with 180 minutes out of all those players. So I just figured that because QPR got 1 less game, he's their main man. He's on penalties.
Also, we had some stats on the site earlier, Granville, which will please you as a potential Austin captain. I had a look at blocks of 2. So blocks of 2 matches, potential if there was a double game week at any point in the season. So how many of those had he got good scores or blanked in? And when he was available, Austin only failed to get more than 4 points in just 2 occasions. So he was scoring points very regularly. You could luck out and get a game week 8 and 9 combination, which was 18 points. Or a usual one, he was getting lots of, say, a 6 and then a 7, or a 2 and then an 8. So I think with Austin, you're guaranteed points. I think you're going to get points. It's just a question of Kane blanking.
If that's the case, why are you not going to captain him?
Because
back to the Dullard roots.
Well, because there's another conversation we've had before, is because where I am at the moment in terms of my rank, I want to stay with all those people. And there is a much greater flip side of Harry Kane just exploding with points, as he has done on some occasions. And if he does, and I'm wrong about Austin, the downside is absolutely huge, because pretty much everyone around me, where my rank is at the moment, will captain Kane. So
see, I don't think it is huge, because you'll own both. The points difference. If there's a huge points difference, obviously. Yeah. But it depends on what you think. I mean, the thing is, Austin has 2 home games where, where you'd expect QPR. I know they've only scored 1 goal actually in the last 4 home games, but still, you expect them to do something at home.
I think there was one of our hot topics. I think it was Andy85 WSM put up about double game weeks being fun.
Him again.
And him again. I mean, but it's true though, in that Harry Kane offers more fun than Charlie Austin. I mean, the fixtures are better. I mean, he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double-digit hauls Austin's had 3. So you've got a higher flip side, and it could be huge. So what I want is that potential kind of Rooney week that we spoke about, and that's what I would hope for. And I think with Charlie Austin, you would get a good score. But I think the potential returns from Kane are far higher. I think Austin is a kind of a safe pick, and it's a good differential as well. But for me, where my rank is, and also just the excitement of seeing Harry Kane, I think is for me, that's where my.
So here's a question, probably for another time. How high does your rank have to be when you start taking fewer risks? Top 1,000? Top 5,000?
Oh, I'm already there. take few risks wherever I am.
I know, but obviously if you're in the top 500, then you're going to top 1,000. But I mean, Granville's, just below. I think you're like 19,000, aren't you, Granville? I mean,
16,000.
Yeah, so that's.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. So it's worth you having a punt, isn't it, on Austin? Whereas, if you're possibly in the top 2,000-3,000, then maybe you wouldn't. But there's obviously a threshold where the element of risk suddenly becomes greater because you just don't want to blow your overall rank.
It's like I don't think Jonty's ever not been in that area of the game. Like top 10,000. Not since I've been following his scoring.
Mm.
I think
so
I remember
he doesn't know any different.
I think there comes a point where where the question's kind of flipped around. It's like, how high up do you have to be to start taking those risks to win the whole thing? Mm. And I remember there was another of our team, Evs, when he was actually in with a chance of winning it on the final day, and he had to take a risk. But he had to take risks before to get where he was. The way I play the game, I couldn't have got into the top 10 without luck. But he took those risks, and I think all of the top 10 players will have to take the odd risk. They'll have to take an 8-point hit one week and hope that really pays off, that kind of thing.
Andrew, you're 115th in the world now. You've got a wild card in your pocket. The team looks pretty set. You're not making mistakes. Are you looking at the top 10?
No.
I think don't fancy your chances.
Yeah, I think realistically that's too big a bridge, too big a gap to bridge now, unless I do make some outrageous choices that come good. I need to stop doing the things like getting Sanchez back in. I needed to go for Ozil, but I fell into the Sanchez trap, as did a lot of people on the site. And I don't know. My choices are too dull.
So, but what do you? Surely there's a point that say you have another 5 game weeks and you're in the top 100. At that point, do you go, okay, I'm going to bank this and have my best finish ever, or actually, I'm going to go and get Zeko? I mean, that's a crazy example, but you know what I mean. It's like...
Yeah, Zeko's already stung me at least twice this season. I don't know. I was thinking I don't actually adopt the tactic Jonty's described. I think we arrive at the same result through different methods. Jonty has a dullard technique and process that involves looking at ownership and kind of where people are ranked. I just pick who I think is going to score the most points. It's just that I'm very dull in who I think will score points. So I never look at ownership. I've no idea who is the most owned players in the top 1,000, top 100, that kind of thing. I just go for who I think is going to score the points. So I don't know. I mean, I guess anything's possible. I guess some of the people near the top might blow up trying to reach the top with their differentials, and I might sneak past them. So yeah, I guess anything can happen. And if I do get near the top, maybe I have to start thinking about percentage ownerships and look at the differentials. But at the minute, it hasn't crossed my mind.
We'll see where it takes you. I mean, we'll obviously, I'm tracking your team very closely indeed, given that I'm still 30 odd points behind you. But it'll be fascinating to see if your tactics change if you stay in that top 100 and edge up. Guys, let's have a look at all aboard, because there's some interesting transfers going on, because there's some players there I want to talk about. Now, obviously, transfers in. It's probably not worth dwelling on this. Ericsson is top of that, 110,000 transfers in. Then Austin, then Rose. We're not sure about Ericsson getting 2 lots of 90 minutes. Granville, you don't see it, do you?
I think you probably start both games, but
Okay.
It'll get taken off. I think it'll be one of those kind of like 70-minute games on the Wednesday, and then he'll start, and then we'll see. He's it depends how he's playing, obviously. Who else is up at the top of the transfers?
Well, what player I want to talk about is Coutinho, because he's the biggest differential in there, in this top 15 we've got there. 6.3%. He's obviously got 2 world-class goals in the last couple of games. We've talked about him before. I really rate him, and I think he's going to be one for next season. Do you think it's too early to gamble on it?
We did speak about it before, and I thought it was a good differential over Sterling. His goals have come from outside the box. He's not going to do that every week. And Liverpool, the team, he's playing really well. I guess if you're chasing, it's one of the you pick him over Sterling if you can have a Liverpool player. I think he's a good shout. I do. He's got 34,000 transfers in, and there's no double game week for him, which is interesting.
I mean, the thing is with them, they got Burnley at home, obviously in midweek, but then it's Swansea, Man United, Arsenal. Not that easy for them, is it? But
a mixture, yeah. Swansea, is it Swansea away? It's not an easy game.
Swansea, Man United at home.
But is talking of ownership, 6.3%. Now, if you have him and he went on a run, you'd certainly move up the ranks. I would have thought. Whereas Sterling, 31%. For me, I'd go Coutinho, definitely.
Let's move to transfers out, because top of that is a player we've discussed before. We talked about him last week, Di Maria. Now, Andrew, you just got rid of him.
I did.
Granville, you just got him in. What's going on there?
Hang on, no, I got him in and I got rid of him.
Oh, you got him in for 1 week, then got rid of him. Right, okay. I mean,
it was always going to happen, whoever got him, because of who else I've got in the midfield. If I wanted to get Ericsson, so I was always looking at it very, very short term.
Do you think he's going to start against Newcastle? Because I mean, taken off at half time.
Possibly not.
No.
I don't know. I think United played better in the second half, but that wasn't necessarily down to Di Maria not being there. I think it's just maybe they just wore Sunderland down eventually.
Another player I want to talk about, Sanchez, because he's 5th on the transfers out, 28,000 transfers out. He's blanked in the last 4 weeks. People are getting worried. A lot of people are saying I should have gone Ozil when I got Sanchez back in. We've all got Sanchez. Andrew, you got Sanchez, right?
I have. I was on board with the Sterling Giroud out for Sanchez and Defoe in, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I only had 2 minutes to make a decision because I was in America at the time and I was in a training session because it was early afternoon, so I just had to make an excuse and leave the room to check my phone for a couple of minutes.
It was a toilet transfer, was it?
I had no time to make any real.
We've all done
decision,
those. So
I sort of had a quick look at the site and saw which way the wind was blowing and just went with it. It's no excuse because in reality I'd probably made the same decision if I'd sat there for an hour looking at it. But I just wish I hadn't been excused for those 2 minutes.
We must do a hot topic on this. Where's the most unusual place you're going to transfer?
Good idea.
Well, I remember Spider-Man. Didn't he make a transfer up a mountain?
He was. He made his winning transfer in game week 38 up a mountain. We also had another guy who was I forget his name now. Who won the Sky game that we interviewed, and he was trying to get Yaya Toure in a really bad Wi-Fi area. And I think he was at a wedding, and he had to sneak off into the toilets at the reception.
Weddings are the real enemy of fancy football managers at weddings.
Fighting to get this Yaya Toure transfer in at the last minute.
Whenever there's a wedding invite, it fills me with dread. Particularly your own wedding, that must be really awkward. It's just weddings they're my curse. If I get invited to a wedding, I have to check the Wi-Fi signal in the area we're going to because they're often.
Why on earth would you make a wedding on a fancy football weekend?
Exactly.
If it's your own.
Well, I wouldn't, obviously. You know, I'd conveniently try and move it around that without letting on. But yeah, yeah. Toilet transfers, hot topic for tomorrow, Jonty.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. Anything else from the community to discuss, Jonty? Anything come in on?
Right, Now this was something that was that Kings of Leon brought up earlier today. It's a question. It's something that I presume that you're doing, Mark, but not for a hit. Would this be right in saying you're going to be getting rid of Giroud for Austin?
We talked about it last week.
We did. So that's obviously that comes with a risk because you're getting rid of a player who has the potential to score well. Kings of Leon specifically asking, would you do it for a hit? Now you're not doing it for a hit.
No, I've got 2 free transfers. So
but would you do it for a hit?
No way for a hit because I'm thinking twice even without it. The reason why I'm doing it is I think I've got suspicions Giroud won't start. I think that Wenger spoke today about not resting Giroud for the Everton game. He said it was important he played, and Giroud got his goal. I think he's proved himself. They've got Man United in the Cup on Monday, then they've got West Ham, then they've got Monaco. Giroud will be wanted for the United game, and he's going to be wanted for Monaco. So I think there's a chance he'll get rested in the QPR game. I think there's a good chance he'll get rested in the West Ham game. Now, if Giroud gets rested, then Austin's a no-brainer. I'm going to get and for Giroud to outscore Austin, he's going to have to score at QPR because Austin's going to get me 4 points, right? So Giroud's got to score. He may well do. I'm just hoping he doesn't score 2 or go to town. I don't think he will. I think I'm okay. If it was a 4-point hit, no, I wouldn't do it.
Okay. Another question here we got from Daniel Levy 16, which is a Spurs related question. So I presume it's not the Daniel Levy. Should we be tripling up on Spurs? Now we've spoken about Kane and Eriksen. We're all doing. Now there's a lot of people in the community thinking Rose. We're thinking Lloris even in goal. Vertonghen could be a good differential. And Walker as well as a goal and assist in him as well. So I know none of you are, but I mean, do you think it is a good tactic, especially perhaps for those chasing, getting 3 Spurs in?
Can I just? I remember a few years ago when there was a double game week and it was Spurs, and the top scorer that week was Asu Akoto.
Yeah.
Do you remember that week?
I do remember. Yeah. I owned him that week.
Yeah.
There was a big divide between Walker and Asu Akoto, wasn't there?
Yeah. Asu Akoto scored a screamer against Everton, I think it was.
Can you see Danny Rose doing that? I mean, the thing that worries me about tripping up on Spurs is they got Man United away straight after, right? So, do you want to take 3 Tottenham players into that? I mean, obviously you've got 1 free transfer, so you can get rid. But game week 29 away at Old Trafford. And then again, you just never know with United, do you? They've got good fixtures after that: Leicester at home, Burnley away, Villa at home. So
yeah.
I
don't know.
Yeah, United have still got quite a good. I mean, they've got quite a good defensive record, despite in spite of all the chances they've been giving up. I don't think teams coming to Old Trafford not going to score many.
No, it's fair enough. But I think that's what puts me off.
I think it's a viable tactic, especially if you're going into the game week with 2 transfers and perhaps you already own Kane and Austin or Kane and Eriksen. I think that's a viable tactic. I mean, as you say, you're gonna get points, especially from a Rose or Walker. And another question is I've just noticed from Don Corleone. It's about Costa, one of our old friends with the site. Now, obviously, he's back. He's on 8 cards, but I mean, presuming all goes well with his double game week, he's looking pretty close to getting essential for game week 34. Now he's a tough one to bring back in if you've got Aguero, Austin, and Kane, which is going to be the template front 3. So Don Corleone asks, what is the best strategy to bring back Costa? Where do you get that cash from?
Well, I suppose it could be Sanchez, couldn't it? If he's not showing, if Sanchez doesn't get back to the form that he was in previously, and he starts trundling along with the assist here and there, if he starts getting like Di Maria type stats where you're having to scrape by on 2 or 3 assists every 5 or 6 weeks, then he's going to be disposable all of a sudden. So that's one situation which is possible. But it's going to be tricky. I mean, I said in the preamble I might never get Costa back, but I think it is inevitably going to happen.
I think if he perhaps serves a suspension before, or he goes into those 2 games still on 8 yellow cards for some amazing reason, then I think he is pretty much near damn essential for that double game week. And I mean, for my tactic is I'm starting to chip away a bit. I've got it in the back of my mind all the time, and I'm thinking, I want to be a hit away from getting Costa by the end of game week 33. So how is that going to happen? And I think Sanchez is the key there. I think there's probably a lot of managers like me who've got someone like, say, Koscielny, who's great to have. No reason to ditch him now. But if you're thinking, is that a route to get Costa in, then maybe that could be another just under another 2 million or so freed up. Perhaps, yeah. So there's options there. But I agree, it's something that, whilst it seems a long way away, and we're all thinking about Harry Kane and his hat-trick in the double game week that's about to happen, I think Don Corleone raises a good point there.
Well, Johnson, you've got to get Hazard back first, so...
Well, yeah, I mean, my immediate, that's fine. I mean, I've got 4.5 million in the bank at the moment, so I'm got 2.5 million. I've just bought Ericsson, so I've got 2.5 million in the bank. So I can do Cazorla. For me, I can get Cazorla in, but it's not too much of an issue. But I think it's right. We need to be thinking about that double game week 34 because Granville's got his wild cards, Green Wimble's got his wild card. There's all sorts of players are going to be having their wild card, and they are going to be raking in the points that week.
The good thing actually for that week is City play Villa at home.
Yeah.
Now everyone's going to be concentrating on those getting 3 Chelsea players and making transfers to get those 3 Chelsea players, and possibly getting rid of City players to get the 3 Chelsea players in. Losing Silva for say Fabregas or one of the other or Hazard. So I think it is looking like a very good game week. I just wish there was another game.
Well, it might drop in, yeah.
It might do, but when you look at the what happened with the European games with Spurs and Liverpool going out, and because those are game weeks in which they could have been playing European games, and now it just frees up those game weeks for them to slot in, to play other weeks. So I don't think we're going to get many. I really don't. This depends on Chelsea, how they progress, and whether, say, Arsenal or City actually manage to get through that tie. There's a chance, but it's doubtful.
Well, okay. Well, before we talk any further about game weeks to come, let's look at this game week because it is just 24 hours away, guys. Obviously, it's another 7:30 deadline, and that always causes a bit of a rush on the site. There's going to be lots of people talking about who's going to get points outside of the double game weekers. Clean sheets. Let's look at that first of all. Granville, who have you picked out? I mean, are you predicting Spurs clean sheet at home at Swansea?
I'm sorry.
Your clean sheets. Have you picked out Granville? Dearie me, you got massive headphones.
I was just checking the fixtures. I'm sorry.
Oh, you haven't picked the clean sheets.
I have picked the clean sheets.
Okay. Are you picking Spurs?
I'm picking Man City at home to Leicester.
Right. Sticking your neck out with that one, yeah. Well, you are in a way, to be honest, but Man City can see the goals to everybody. But you're confident there, are you?
I'm not too confident. I know City. I mean, they're not looking good at the back, are they? Company's struggling. Zabaleta
He's really struggling.
Is not the same player. He's switching. He's tried Kolarov again, and he's having a bad season. So it isn't working out for him now.
I think Leicester will score.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they could. I think it's. I mean, you've got to go Man City at home to Leicester with a clean sheet, but
I think Spurs at home to Swansea looks like a good chance of a clean sheet.
Sigurdsson back low against his former club, point to prove.
Swansea just aren't creating that. Maybe with Sigurdsson back, but they were really poor at the weekend.
So who's the third one, Granville?
The third one's probably Liverpool at home to Burnley.
Yeah, got to be.
Yeah.
Do you see any others in there, John T? Andrew, do you see any?
Hull and Sunderland could go either way.
That's a match of the day, final fixture.
That's a nil.
Villa and West Brom will be fighting them for it, won't they?
Yeah.
I was looking at my scout picks for this coming week, and one of the first names I put up actually was a Liverpool defender. That screened out, so I do agree with that. I think that's looking good.
Yeah. There's Southampton, but they're struggling now, aren't they? Southampton at home to Palace. They can't score. They might keep a clean sheet there, but I don't know. I'm thinking of actually losing Klein and going without.
I was looking at that because they've got the Chelsea game coming up as well. So cashing in on your Southampton defender for a couple of weeks might be the way to go. But Toby, I'm not going to go for his surname, but Toby is back 4.8. So if you get rid of Klein or Bertrand, you can have a look at Toby in a couple of weeks' time, which is probably a decent idea.
Brings us back to how do we get Costa back in the next 5 or 6 game weeks? Well, those kind of things that perhaps we need to be thinking about now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, Granville, so the mini game, it was miserable last week. I went Giroud, got a goal, but 5 points, booking knocked him down. I gambled on Scott Sinclair, 7 points. You went Sanchez and Ndoye, and Ndoye didn't even turn up for it, came off the bench. What was that? Yeah. Why did Bruce...
I don't understand it.
So he hasn't got Jelic, and then this guy who scored 2 goals in 2 games, he said it was fatigue, apparently.
Really?
So he's basically gone all out for the Sunderland game in midweek. He's basically gone, well, I can't risk Jelic because he's got a knock, not going to risk him, and I'll rest Ndoye as well.
Why would you just go on against Stoke? I mean,
because he's trying to be...
There's points to be won at Stoke as well.
You'd have thought, very conservative from Bruce, and he paid the price, only at the end, but... So Ndoye did nothing for it.
He doesn't half shift things about though, Bruce. I mean, he's been doing it all season with the back line. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It's the same with Poyet.
Yeah.
Well, go on. Is you first on the heavy hitters?
Well, we're going to avoid double game weekers, aren't we? Because we've talked enough about them. So heavy hitter, you had first, and so you stuck your neck out. Not gone with double game week, and instead you've gone with.
Aguero
at home to Leicester, yeah. So a dull pick if ever I saw one, but it's fair enough. You've got to close the gap. It's 166 to 192, so there's 26 points in it. So fair enough. Aguero. I'm going to go with Costa because that is the antidote to Aguero traditionally, and so yes, I'll go with Costa at West Ham. He's going to get in amongst those West Ham centre backs. Big Sam will be moaning on the whistle, I'm sure. There'll be something controversial, won't there?
Yeah, you're right. And your risk?
Well, I'm going to go Mane, which is borderline risk. He's not a heavy hitter. Southampton have got 1 goal in 5, so I think he is a risk. He's in my team. He's 6.6. I think I keep saying he's going to be playing up front. He kind of was at West Brom until... Well, he was. He played even in the second half. He was up front. So I don't know. I don't think Pella will start. I think he'll go with Long this week.
Really?
I think the time has come to drop Pella. Do you not agree?
Yeah, he's atrocious. He's just like swinging his foot and hitting air shots.
The air shots.
It's not happened for him. I don't understand it. He looked sensational at the beginning of the season. Probably a bit like Di Maria. I don't understand how you can lose form like that and just look like a donkey again.
Andrew, you had Pella early in the season because you benefited of his game week 8 points. When did you get rid? Was it quite early on after?
Good question. I kind of got rid about the time the fixtures were turning, I think, because they had a big fixture swing, didn't they? Around, was it game week 12, 13, something like that? I think I shifted in for Bonnie.
Yeah, you did. Game week 13 was exactly when you did it. Well remembered. See,
right.
Yeah, you got Bonnie in game week 13. That's right.
Yeah, because I think I got rid of Klein that week as well, or certainly around that point, because there was a bit of a debate about, it's the classic Form V fixtures, wasn't it?
Mm.
I decided to go fixtures on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was a bit late on the getting on board Pella to start with, or certainly behind the curve for some guys.
I've only had him once this season. I tried him out for a couple of weeks because he had good fixtures. And I got him right in the middle of this 10-game dry spell, and I'm not going back. And I think he's got to drop him because if he's not scored in 10 games and that miss at West Brom and Shane Long on the bench now, he's got to go. He's got to change it. The trouble is with Southampton, it means changing the way they play completely. But I'm hoping that means that Mane up front. So we'll see. Who's your risk, Granville?
I've gone for Caesar. He's you look at his goal scoring though this season. I think he's very much under the radar. And we've all been looking at Perez because he's been really, really cheap, and as a kind of like an eighth attacker. But I think Cisse, although he's had his injury problems and he's been in and out, I think he's definitely one that we've missed this season. And
but it puts you off.
Again, is a good. Sorry.
The fact that he's not been getting regular starts has put you off, hasn't it? He's not been a player you can kind of back in fantasy terms. Even though
it's one of those points, points per game is really, really good.
Oh, it's the best around. Yeah. Perez was dropped to the bench at the weekend. He played 4-4-2 and Cisse delivered again. So you're backing a player against United?
Against United, yes, I am.
It's come to that. That's how far it's come. I don't blame you, Grenville. So yeah, we'll see how those goes. Let's look at the Scout Leagues briefly before we talk finally about the game week ahead. So Simon March is top of the Fantasy Football Scout League on 1723. He's still there and he's top of the world. He's also a member. I said last week he was a member and hadn't joined the Members League. He has now. He's top of that, so that's bad news for the rest. So he's now ahead. Well, he's 60 odd ahead in the Members League. So Tom Fenley, who won it last year, was a member. It'd be great if Simon came in and won again, but he's now top of that one. And in the Ultimate game, we've got another familiar name, Lanny Stowell. A.D. Spencer is top of the Scout League and he's 5th in the world. So has he been lauding it on the site this week, John T?
He has. He's very, very modest about it.
He is.
Yeah, I think he's really enjoying this game. I think a lot of the community are getting it. They've got a lot in the top 10, top 20. I think he's just enjoying it because it is good making those transfers from each game week, and you can have a really bad day and then it can just be completely salvaged the next day. And he's full of good advice as well.
He's 65 points behind the leader, Keith Oosby. There's 25 grand up for a grab, so he's going to be taking it pretty seriously at this point, I'd have thought. Whether he can make up that 65 points, we'll see, but we're all behind you. So, good luck with that, AD. Keep it going. Over in the Sky game, Kevin Anderson, he's top of the Scout League. He's another one chasing money. He's top of the Sky game by 24 points. 30 grand up for grabs in that game, and he dropped us a line the other day, John T. So it was good to hear from him. So we'll try and get Kevin on the ScoutCast soon. See as he closes in on that top prize in the Sky game. That'd be great. Over in Mondogal, we got 90. The Fantasy Football Scout game got 90 points last week, but that wasn't good enough to qualify for their 30k prize. When I'm trying to get a team in that, there's 160 qualifiers. You've got to win one of their games to get in. We came 21st. A gentleman called F. Scott L won that. He's now got 2 entries in that, where we've got to get a team in that before the end of the season. And over in Play On, we've dropped below Tom Fenley in the leaderboard now. He's 9th, we're 10th. So Tom's beating us. We'll have to get him on in a future podcast as well. So we got 9815. Wasn't good enough. The winner of the FFS game was Jack Kelly on 15770. He also won 250 quid for that. Not bad at all. Good game week for him. Simon March, we mentioned, he's coming on next week, John T.
Wow, exciting.
Indeed.
We're getting some high flyers on at the moment with Green Windmill and top of the world.
So we'll be able to ask him about taking risks, because if Andrew's not taking risks and John T's not taking risks, what's the number one in the world doing? That's what I want to know. You just sit tight, don't you? You back. It must be, must be a whole different ball game.
Well, he's got such a clear margin as well. I haven't seen that for a long time. Usually it's the to-ing and froing, but it's something like, I mean, as you said, I mean, it's this kind of, is it kind of 40 points or so has he got? I mean, it's quite some margin. So I think, he's clearly doing something quite different to everyone else. And
he's got his wild card as well. Again, I mean.
Wow.
This is just the thing. He's top of the world by I think it's 29 points. So he's top of the world by 29 points, and he's got his wild card. I remember this time of year was when we spotted Tom Fenley, who was I think 6th or 7th in the world and still had his wild card. He was the only one of the top 10 who had his wild card at that point. And I dropped him a line, and because he was another guy who wasn't in the Members League, but he was in our Classic League, and I dropped him a line, go, hey, get yourself in the Members League, because you'd be top of that. And because the worst thing in the world is when you join a league in the last couple of weeks and someone who thinks they're winning it just gets knocked off. So that would have been a bit unfair. So he joined the Members League, and I was sending him emails, and then within 3 or 4 weeks, he was top, and the wild card proved decisive in him, and he won it by 1 point. Now Simon is even in a better position I don't know how many of the top 10 have still got their wildcard. We must have a look at that before next week. But that's going to be an interesting scoutcast to see what he's got in mind, because that basically whatever you're feeling right now, Andrew, surely it'd be times 10 for him, wouldn't it?
Times 115.
Yeah.
That must be pressure.
Well, maybe we can nobble him for you, and then you can catch up.
Well, you don't have a great track record of your guests going on to win, do you? So.
Oh dear, yeah.
It sounds like there's that film Kind Hearts and Coronets, where there's the guy who is going to inherit the fortune, but he's got about 8 or 9 different various lords and ladies above him, and the whole film he spends bumping them all off. So it's a fantasy football, kind hearts and fantasy football.
So we've only got to do away with 114 people, and Andrew's won this.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Granville, there's 16 Boughton ahead of you. I'm not taking that job on.
Right, so Mark, right, we know who you're getting in, who you're getting out of your team this week.
Well, okay, so
Adam Johnson, by any chance?
Yeah, that was to be honest, right? To be honest, it was a tough decision, because I was going to get rid of Johnson or Downing, and then what happens? What can you say? Well, let's not say too much, right? But that decision obviously now has been made for me, and Johnson will be going along with Giroud. So
now you've got the police on your side, like working with you on your fantasy side.
Well, I'll go to any lengths to help. But yeah, I mean, that decision has been made for me. Yeah, it was. It's a difficult one, which I don't want to dwell on any further. But yes, Adam Johnson will be leaving my team either in the early hours of tonight or tomorrow. I don't see you lot have all made your transfers already. Is that right?
Yeah.
Was it all
we all did it because Defoe was going down. I suspect.
Okay.
Yeah. Defoe's going down. One of my pet hates in this game is particularly that kind of third striker. Is seeing that third striker lose value and keeping hold of them. And it's kind of, I call it Stephen Fletcher syndrome. You get him in, and then you just watch the millions pile off, and I just got it. And I saw Defoe doing that. I thought, right, you're out of here, mate. You've just gone.
So fickle, Jonty. So fickle. Should we end on any more questions from the community, and any questions not involving Adam Johnson? That'd be great.
Let's have a look. So the special one asks, why is Granville so glum?
Yes, he's so miserable.
The special one says it makes me sad.
Yeah, it does me. Cheer up, Granville.
I'm just reading through some of the comments on YouTube, and people say I'm absolutely crazy captain in Austin.
Really?
Yeah. The thing is, I'm just going for it on. I just want to try and rise in rank. I think that's the reason I actually fancy him to do all right this week.
I want you to captain him because it'll make it interesting, because it's so tedious that we're getting all the same players and all back in Kane. I mean, it's just so it'll make it far more interesting if you go Austin. I think that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Any more reactions, John T? Before
well, no, there was something Doolittle posted last week. It was in relation to the title that you gave the Scoutcast when you were editing it. You simply called the Scoutcast Threesome. My appearance in the sound, and he was trying to explain to his girlfriend what he was watching. I'm watching a threesome with 3 men talking about football.
To be honest, if I was him, I'd have gone, yeah, it's Paul.
So I was saying that
That's embarrassing.
was going to be on. I was saying it's going to be a foursome. And he went, dear Lord, my girlfriend asked questions last week when I was watching him there.
A funny story along those lines. I once had an album by the New Pornographers. This is a band that you like,
yes,
John.
I know.
And so I had a friend did a CD. I hadn't heard of them. This was years ago, and he made a CD up for me, and he wrote New Pornographers on it. And my girlfriend at the time found it and literally thought that I had a CD with porn on it that I would have labelled it with New Pornography. If I had porn on a CD, obviously I've never had a CD with images on of any pornography whatsoever. I would not label it New Pornographers. So yeah, it's just bizarre. And threesome, we won't call this one foursome because where do we stop? Like there's 11 game weeks to go. It just gets silly, won't it? So we're just going to have one guest on every week, and it'll be Simon March next week. But this week it's been Andrew, and I'd like to thank you, Andrew, for coming on.
Yeah, brilliant.
And I don't want to thank you for the season you've had. We'll see how you do this game week. I think you'll just keep it up, won't you? I really want to see you get into that top 100. Do you reckon it's going to happen this week?
That's the plan. That would be great. It sounds like I don't have much of a different team from everyone, so it might be a bit tricky, but slow and steady.
Slow and steady. John T, that brings me over to you. I don't know why. Do you see yourself pushing on? I mean, how many points are you behind me?
About 30 or so. I shall quickly, as long as my computer's works quickly, which it's not, but it's from my memory. Here we go. Yeah. 13, 28 behind you. So obviously 58. Behind Green Windmill.
So what's your tactics? Because obviously you're not going to take any risks yet. It's quite. This is the thing: mini leagues or rank. Mini leagues or rank.
Well, I'm top of the 2 mini leagues where I could win money, so I'm happy with that. I've got some margin there, so there's no risk needed with that one. I'm looking for getting into the top 1,000 this week. I would love to. I think that's possible, depending what happens. But yeah, I mean, I've moved up in the 1,587th now, so I've moved up about 400 or 500 places.
That's all right. You rose quite a lot then this week.
It was punching, basically.
Yeah.
We didn't get a great. I mean, you got 57. I got 51. It wasn't a massive score, but it seemed to have moved up quite a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe the scores were really tight this week.
I think
people spent points, didn't they, as well?
Yeah. I think they did. I took that. I wanted to get 11 players out, and there were quite a few within that top 2,000, 3,000 who appeared to be quite happy to go into that with 9 or 10 players, which I didn't want to do. So I took advantage of that.
Finally, Granville, any tactics? You're just going to go for it now. Austin's the first risk, and there's more to come, is there?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm going to keep Zuma. I'm going to probably play him. I've got a choice between playing him or Jenkinson. I know West Ham are at home, but we'll see if Zuma plays. I think he should do, actually.
Is he going to play midfield again?
You see, yeah, I was just to say that he played midfield. Well, he might do because Matic is out for another game, isn't he? Or is he? Is he back up?
Yeah,
no. He had 2 game ban, so he's out. He misses this game. So maybe he will do. I don't think that makes him out of position, or in terms of he's got.
No, because he didn't get over the halfway line at all.
No, and actually, I remember they were saying that this thing last year with David Luiz when he was playing out of position, and people are buying him because they thought, he's got more chance to score. So. Yeah, I guess so. But I don't think it makes that much difference if you play in defensive midfield or you play centre back. In fact, you got less chance because you won't be coming up for you might not be coming up for corners.
Well, Zuma hasn't played away from home yet in the league, so
no.
For that one.
So, and if he doesn't, I'll just play Jenkinson. I'm actually going to bench Bellerin because of Austin. But it was surprising, Bellerin and Wolfscheid. Is that how you pronounce it?
Very well done, Granville.
Both of them got a clean sheet and maximum bonus.
Yeah.
And 6. Literally saved my game week.
Yeah, no, it's all good. And more of the same. Granville, it's been a pleasure as always. John T, as always, it's been a pleasure. And Andrew, thank you very much for joining us. We'll have you on again as the season goes on, particularly if you can push on. And we'll see if we can duff up Simon next week for you.
Thanks for that. Cheers. Look forward to it.
Good night, Andrew. Good night, John T.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Granville.
Good night.
Good night.